Here's an update on the Travelall from last week. I'm going to talk a little bit about the engine, which I ran up for about 10 minutes. I'll talk a little bit about the chassis, continuing to go through that and putting encapsulator and getting all the rust off of it. Talk a little bit about the seat box progress and a little bit about a new bumper that I got, and that'll all be in this piece this week. So I just ran the engine up for maybe about 10 minutes just to see what sort of temperatures I'm getting. Putting this laser on the manifolds is about 450, somewhere around there. 430. When I was running, it was a little bit higher, it was about 500. This side is 580, so the passenger side is actually a bit hotter than the driver's side. The water neck is only at 160. I have no idea if that thermostat is good or bad. There is some coolant in here, but I've got to fill it up some more. So I'll put some in there later. Ran okay. It sounded like there might have been a mist, but then it smoothed out as it got warmer. So I'm going to check the oil. I'll probably actually change the oil now that it's run up a bit. I had also put half a can of Berryman's down into the engine and let that run off a bit. So just sort of seeing how things are going here. I don't run it up a whole lot because it really stinks, and my wife doesn't like that when I stink up the house. She's not here today, so I've got this crazy ghetto pipe that runs all the way out to the back there. But yeah, the other crazy thing was that she started up almost immediately. There was only like 3 pumps of the gas, and she caught and started right up, so that was also quite nice. From what the gauges are saying, she is making power, and she does have 50 pounds of oil pressure, which is also really nice. So it's weird. I don't know what in this thing is hooked up and what is not. As I've said before, there's no fuse box in this thing. It was cut out completely, and the wiring is a rat's nest. But it looks like the main gauges are all still hooked up. I have no lights. I don't know what else is hooked up and what's not, but at least I've got, gauges, which is more like it's for my Scout, actually. Here's a quick update on where the seat base box is right now. It's got a couple layers of black paint on it. It's been wet sanded once, and another layer is on it. I'm gonna have to go back over it one more time because there's still some light spots and everything, but it's coming together really well. I hit it with some Bondo just on the edges and cleaned it up and everything. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. I noticed like the little dings and things in there, but it's going to be under the seat 99% of the time, so I'm not too worried about it. But overall, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Oh, I got to hit that with some paint too. Yeah, so it's cleaning up pretty well. So this is on probably day 4 of working on the chassis and trying to get the chassis all cleaned up and covered in rust converter and encapsulator. Looking pretty good. I've got it all the way down to the end. So if I look back, I don't know if you can see behind there, that whole frame is covered. Most everything under there is covered. It's all been scaled and covered, so it's looking pretty good. So I'm taking a look at the driver's side floor to see how bad this is and see what I need to do, if I need to cut anything out here or not. Looks like what they did was they just put a plate patch in over top of everything. There's some welds every couple of inches. It goes up underneath there. I don't like this patch all that much because of stuff like this. I can see the floor out through there. I think it ends right about here, and it goes around and basically goes around the perimeter. They put some sort of weird, I don't know what this stuff is. It's like rubberized coating or something. So I started sanding some of it off, and I sanded off the middle just to see what this is like. I mean, it's still decent. I'm going to try grinding it down to see how far it goes, see if it goes through, but I may very well just replace all this. I mean, you can see here, part of this kick has to be cut out and replaced, and I think I may attempt to do that myself. We'll see. This is where the front floor stands. I ground out all of that weird white garbage around the edges there, part of the way all the way down to here. It's just a bunch of tack welds. So if I want to pull this up, I can, and I'm thinking more and more that I'm probably going to, because it looks really bad up here. I had a little bit of time tonight to test fit the new bumper for the International. This is actually the bumper for a 57 Ford F-150 pickup. Somebody on Facebook mentioned that this would be pretty much a direct fit for a C-Series truck, and this is what it looks like right now. It might be just a hair close on the edges here, but overall I think it looks pretty damn good compared to the junky piece of crap I inherited when I got this truck. It was all bent up and beat up. I'm gonna put this on the truck and run it for the time being. I think it was like 170 bucks, might have been 220 shipped. But I think it looks pretty darn good. It fits the style of the truck. I mean, it's, you know, only 6 years apart. This is the primer black, or the primer version. They have chrome versions too. I'm gonna go with a painted bumper because that's what this thing came with. And actually it fits the back bumper, which is black as well. So I might just keep it black for the time being, but I like it. I think it looks pretty good. So this is just a test fit. I've got to basically widen out the two pieces of channel that were put in here that I inherited. This is just some channel that's basically bolted to the front here, and I've got to figure out how I'm going to widen this out. It's got to come out to about here to meet these mounting points on the bumper. There's two mount points, one here and one here, and it's so yeah, that's where we are with that. One thing I should mention is the difference in thickness of these two bumpers. This is the C-Series bumper that I got. This is the Ford bumper. You can see this is a lot thicker and a lot deeper than this one. So when this mounts, it actually fits further in towards the truck, because it takes up more of this section here. So I've got to allow for that. But if anybody's interested, that's the difference here. And then the size difference, I measured out the distance of the horns, and it's actually almost exactly the same. I think it's like 57 inches or something from this section to the other side, or this edge to the other side. It's actually the same here too. But again, because this is deeper, it wants to go further into the bumper here. So if anybody's interested, that's what I found. Then the other thing to note is that my bumper came with this pre-mounted bracket in place. These do not. I guess Ford, there's some sort of other thing here to mount your Ford bumper to. I don't exactly know what. There's a cutout here and there's a cutout here, but there's no built-in bracket. So finally, a brief update on the rear chassis. This has now got a coat of Eastwood rust. Excuse me, it's Eastwood chassis black. I think it's the satin. So everything that got hit with the encapsulator now has a coat of black on it. There's stuff way down there that I've got to continue on. I've got to probably put it up on jack stands or something and continue going further up towards the front, but pretty much most of the back is done. The only other thing I've got to do is get this wheel off and do the stuff inside the wheel well there. I did it on this side, but this side still needs to get done. And it's not a whole lot. It's just the stuff that I can't get to from this angle from underneath. So we're just about to the point where I can replace the old plywood with new plywood, put it down, just have it down here for the winter time. When I put that in, that's going to get painted, and then it'll get one or maybe two coats of rattle can undercoater before I drop it down here for good, drill the holes and actually set it in place and bolt it down. For now, it's going to be convertible just so I can keep getting back in here, because I think I've got to redo that brake, or I've got to not redo it, but I've got to take a look at that brake fitting there and just make sure that it works correctly. So yeah, that's where we stand.